Buy my shirt.
Buy my hat.
Buy it all.
I also have a playlist.
Stream it now.
Ooh, look at this setup. I don't know why scissors are in there, but gotta cut some bitches out sometimes. Hey everybody, what's up? If you're new to my channel, my name is Klemens, or if you're into my Clementines, welcome back to the dysfunction that is my channel. I shouldn't jerk this new studio off too much. As you can tell, there is still not soundproofing, so hello, Echo. Why did that sound like a commercial for Amazon? So a few weeks, months, I could not tell you. A month or two ago, I uploaded a video called I'm Just Done, where it was essentially a rant, but it really turned into a cry for help, it looked. Now, if you're a consistent viewer on this channel, as you guys know, I really don't talk a whole lot about my personal life or kind of things I'm going through. Do I though? I kinda do. So that video that I uploaded, whatever, I really talked about how I was feeling and didn't care if those feelings of frustration were going to hurt the people, because like I said in that video, I don't like drama, I don't like confrontation really, I don't like being in the middle of things. Hey, I'm filming.
I'm bored.
I know. I don't either. Anyways, mental health. No, but I read so many of the responses to that video, and to see so many of you guys also discuss mental health and how you're feeling and feeling similarly to how I feel, that I wanted to just start talking about mental health a little bit. It is something I wish more people talked about when I was younger or when I was feeling insecure, which I still fucking am. But this is gonna be a little bit of me explaining and giving a mental health update, as well as answering some of your guys' questions that I had you submit on Instagram. Now, following me, we're about to do this stupid overused bit where you should follow me, link below. Whatever. So get comfy, get some water, get a blunt, whatever's helping you cope these days. And feel free to use the comments as a place to vent and find other people who might be feeling similarly, as this is just a very tricky time. But before we get into the video, as you guys know, I've been dedicating my videos to different organizations, small businesses, or causes that need our attention, and today's is no different. I feel like the dedication for this video doesn't need a whole lot of explanation or description, as I am dedicating this video to the Lebanese Red Cross. If you don't know what's been going on in Lebanon and then just recently happened, I mean, what just happened was an explosion that I cannot, to this day, wrap my head around. I can't comprehend it. Lebanon has been in the middle of an economic crisis, a famine, and now there is just destruction beyond belief. I mean, if this happened in like New York or Los Angeles or London, the cities and then surrounding areas would be gone. And I've been seeing so many posts from people in Lebanon saying petitions don't work and that the donations don't really work. That's why I want to make the dedication of this video for donations to the Lebanese Red Cross, because they are the ones there making sure the money is being put to helping those who are injured, helping those who have people lost, helping those who are hungry. I'm gonna leave the Lebanese Red Cross donation link in the second line of the description. Please go click on it and not subscribe. I am a robot. Please go click on it and donate what you can, even if it's $1, even if it's $3. Truly don't underestimate the value of small donations, especially in a group of people this size watching. If you're in Lebanon, my heart goes out to you. I'm sending you any and all strength and positivity I have. I feel like this is a great segue into the topic of the video, as the last 5 months are really what have caused me to have a few mental breakdowns. I want to give a disclaimer that I am not an expert. I am not anything. I am just somebody who deals and suffers with depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts. What else should I brag about? That's kind of like what I'm going to be discussing, and I know this probably won't be funny or entertaining. The last 5 months have been extremely hard for me, and I'm not saying that as if that standpoint or viewpoint is unique at all. If anything, I am so unbelievably, undeniably blessed to be in the position I'm in. That being said, I do want to make a point very clear that mental health does not care if you're rich. It doesn't care if you have everything in the world. It doesn't care if you have your dream job. It doesn't matter what you come from, because mental health is like the great equalizer. It does not matter. It's such a mindfuck to be alive right now and realize how grateful and lucky I am, but also still feel so numb and empty. This is just all why I want to make this video, because I have a lot of thoughts and feelings and oh god, this sounds Sounds like a scene right out of Mean Girls. I feel like this video is so scattered, but I just don't really know what I'm... This has all just been trapped in my head for so long that I'm trying to like formulate this into cohesive flow, but it's just, I don't think, working. So because this is a mental health update, I'm really gonna kind of just talk about the last 5 to 7 months. Last November, I turned 26, and that meant I was off my mom's insurance and had to go get my own, and I was really working hard to get my insurance in place so that I could find a therapist. I really just was realizing that my mental health was suffering again without going and talking to somebody about it. Like I said, I've done therapy before. I started back in 2015 after the time where I kind of really was so close to killing myself. That time was a huge wake-up call for me to go see somebody to talk to, because I always thought therapy meant you were broken or something was really wrong with you or that people would think of you differently. I feel so dumb for wasting as much of the time not going to therapy as I did. So at the time I was still at NYU and I went to see a therapist that the school offered, and they were really great, but I was still kind of breaking down the personal barriers of feeling comfortable talking about this. Fast forward to like 2018, 2019, and I'm in Los Angeles now, and my mental health is slipping again, and I decided to find a therapist, and I was just looking for someone that I could still kind of talk to about my life and try and figure out why some of the habits I have are the way they are. That was really, really, really helpful, and I had that therapist up until a few months into the old house that we just moved out of. I stopped seeing that therapist for a few reasons. One, because I felt like I was getting my life in order, which is always a mistake to stop therapy when that happens. Two, because the commute there with Los Angeles traffic took 2.5 hours out of my day. I also just didn't feel like I was getting what I wanted out of it, which is why I stopped going to that therapist. I know I just said that you shouldn't abruptly stop therapy, but I realized in the break between that therapist and the therapist I have now that I had like a huge awakening. I felt like I had done enough explaining and bringing up the past and all of the things I've experienced, because I feel like I genuinely have a good sense of like, oh, that person fucked me up, that person fucked me up, I know why this habit is, but it was still good to deep dive. But I realized that a lot of my actions are results of things, and therefore they're just habits that I've carried out my entire life, and I call it restructuring my brain. I wanted to form new cognitive habits, and that was one of my bullet points when I was looking for a new therapist. The process is so frustrating trying to find a therapist, but my roommate Andrew let me know about Psychology Today, and you can like put in your insurance information, and then it gives you a list of all these people in your area, what they do, and little blurbs and descriptions about them. I was looking through this list and I found someone who used the exact bullet points that I did. So I called him, had a session with him, and it's been amazing ever since. Now, the month and a half before March 14th, which is when I started quarantining, I was seeing my therapist once a week, and he was giving me these tools and almost homework to be doing to implement in my life to form these new habits. And it's been so crazy to remember that your brain is a muscle, and if you train it not to go down a certain thought process or do this, you are so capable of making changes in your life. And I was noticing these changes, and he was like, Chris, I've never even had patients who like do this as fast as you do. Yeah, and then the pandemic started, and at that point I was like,
honestly, it's like working from home. It's like vacation. It's amazing. I think we're gonna stop until it's over.
Which brings us to here. We end up moving into the house that we're in now, which is the month of June, and I'm realizing that I really do need to pick therapy back up, and that my mental health is slipping. It was slipping for obvious reasons, from our lives being completely different, people not taking this seriously the same day, feeling like it's happening over and over, for just kind of the reasons I talked about in the I'm Just Done video. So I started seeing my therapist again, and I did feel like it was helping a lot. Having that outlet to kind of vent about what I was doing, and also getting tools in return that I can be doing, or book recommendations that he think would be great for me, or things like that. After I uploaded the I'm Just Done video, I had therapy that week, and my therapist brought up the idea of going back on medication. I told him I had already been on Lexapro before, it was really helpful, and that I was not against this idea, especially with how long quarantining is seeming to last. You guys kind of know how I've been feeling based off of the I'm Just Done video, but my reasoning for going back on medication wasn't taken lightly. For me, I smoke weed, I eat edibles. Marijuana really helps with my just overall lifestyle, I guess. But it just wasn't doing it for me, and I was starting to get really lazy with uploading and just having no motivation, and really just becoming a nothing version of myself. This all sounds concerning and I don't want pity or sympathy or anything. Like, I'm talking about this because it's how I feel, and I think it's how a lot of people feel, and I don't think people necessarily feel like they can talk about this in such a casual, open setting. But I just didn't like how I was feeling. I didn't like who I was becoming. I didn't like that the light each day got dimmer and dimmer and dimmer for me. I just felt so lazy and unmotivated and overwhelmed by just everything that keeps unfolding in the world. Like I said, I have been dealing with suicidal thoughts, but it's nothing that I would ever act upon. I really do feel that I'm past that point. So because of all of that, my therapist and I talked for a while about going back on medication, and I was not apprehensive this time around. I was actually kind of also thinking it without even realizing I was thinking it. So that day I filled my prescription for 20 milligram pills of Lexapro, and that is the medication I am currently on. And I want to talk about that because I think medication in general has a whole lot of stigma attached to it, which is so insane, because you wouldn't feel a stigma for taking prescribed heartburn medication or things like that. Your brain is a muscle, and when you feel like shit, and that's pain. That's real pain that should be taken seriously. I did not remember the whole like acclimating period of you having to like level up. I mean, I remember like having to like break my pills and take, but I didn't remember the feeling. And if you follow me on Instagram, I was like venting about this a lot. My body felt so fucked up for like a week. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't really eating. I was feeling super nauseous. It kind of felt like vertigo a little bit, but it was just to the point where I was like, I'm gonna stop taking these because it's just so brutal. I do want to say, as miserable as that was and as little sleep and food I got in my system, I will say that the payoff is so much better now that my body is kind of used to the level that I'm taking. The reality of it is every day isn't just butterflies, chirping birds, and beautiful skies with clouds in them. Today, for example, I woke up and it's probably my third day of kind of feeling like shit, and I think that that's just kind of from the circumstance we're in. My game plan for antidepressants is to kind of get through quarantine and feel out a little bit of normal life and see if I find that they are still useful, because otherwise maybe I don't need to be on them, and I don't want to be on them if I don't feel that I need to be. I'm afraid that this came off more how to find a therapist and antidepressants and less my mental health update, but I just feel like I wanted to share this, especially having posted the I'm Just Done video, that it's okay to feel like shit right now. It's okay to be angry at people who don't feel like they care at all. Even if the influencer's friend wants to come into my DMs and tell me that I'm the crazy one and that I'm a bully and doing this for retweets. It's fucking hard, dude. Like, especially with being self-employed, and I know that there are people without jobs, and I can't imagine that. I can't imagine that. It's just so hard being my own, not only like personal motivator, but professionally, I have to be uploading and filming, and I don't want to be on fucking camera most days. I don't want to talk. I have nothing to say. I feel like shit. I don't have ideas that feel good enough, and I'm just so in my head and overthinking things and feeling so insecure with myself. And so I just kind of wanted to share all of this, and I don't think any of this even made sense. I really did just want to upload this because I do share my life, and I do have this audience of people who, after reading the comments on the Just Done With This video, I really realized that we're all the same. I just definitely want to share this because I know if I'm going through this, a fuckload of you guys are. I feel like this might be a good time to get into some things that you guys sent over on my Instagram story. Somebody asked, do you stop thinking everything that's happening to take a break? I have a hard time doing so. That is one of the biggest issues I struggle with right now. I've been going on walks every afternoon just before sunset, and some days they're more intense than others where I'm really trying to break a sweat, but other days I'm like, you know what, just get outside for 45 minutes, take a walk, listen to some music or a podcast or something, and just have some time for yourself where you really don't distract yourself, but you kind of distract yourself. Just do the best you can and really make a priority to just get off your phone if it's feeling overwhelming, because there's other things you can be doing to educate and create change, or to deal with the issues at hand. Somebody asked, what's a good way to manage anxiety/intrusive thoughts? Now, I don't know what you mean by intrusive thoughts. I call them irrational thoughts. With my therapist, he's given me incredible tools. One of them is the whack-a-mole. The second your mind thinks of something, you go, nope, we'll talk about that later. I say 3 p.m. It doesn't have to be 3 p.m. The point is, you know it's an irrational thought and you know that you'll figure it out. But the point is to train your brain to just not even let that thought exist for more than 2 seconds. I found that that's been really great for me if I've been overthinking or stressing or spiraling over stuff. Is there any good way to suggest therapy to your loved ones without offense? I've been having these conversations with people really close to me. I just keep bringing it up gently, of course. I always say, have you thought about seeing someone and talking to someone about this? I don't know. I really try and talk to them on a level-headed, calm, reasonable way of, this is not embarrassing. It's not offensive. It's for you. It's the same as going to a doctor. I just think to read the room and see how that person is kind of handling each sentence you throw at them. But I always try and come from a very personal, calm place. How the hell do I find a therapist? They all come off the same online. So that I talked about earlier, but really I'm gonna recommend Psychology Today. You type in your insurance or whatever, it gives you lists, but before you do this, come up with what you want out of therapy. So for me, for example, one of the times I was going, I was like, I find a lot of my happiness reliant on my career, and I feel like I wish I was better at communicating healthier in my relationships. So for me, I put down someone who's focused in career and like that whole dynamic, as well as somebody who can teach me communicating and maybe find ways or patterns of communicating that aren't working for me and suggesting new things. People give paragraphs as to what they do, and you find the same bullet points, you're most likely going to find somebody who you can connect with and can connect with you. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions and be specific, because you're paying for this, most likely. So make sure you're getting what you need out of it. A lot of the time, the phone calls are where I can really tell if I can like have a conversation with someone. My first therapist in Los Angeles, I hopped on the phone. We had like the best convo, and I was like, I feel good about this. And then I got there in person and it was great. Make sure you feel comfortable talking. That's obviously a huge one. You don't want to hold anything back in therapy. All right, I feel like I'm going to end the video there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video or found this video comforting or useful or in any way. I'm going to leave the donation link to the Lebanese Red Cross down below, as well as mental health resources. If I missed any, feel free to comment them down below, or comment your experiences with depression, anxiety, antidepressants, etc. And if you see someone who you vibe with in the comments, go exchange info, become friends, talk to them about what you're going through. Talking about what you're going through is like the most important part. And I feel like that's a really nice, wholesome way to end this video. And I'm honestly surprised the camera hasn't cut off yet, because I thought it only recorded to 29 minutes, but here we are at 29:53, baby. Look at us go. So yeah, I hope you guys, all right, so the camera records to 30 minutes. So yeah, that's what happened. Anyways, I don't know why I'm starting another clip. I should have just listened to fade and ended the video.